Florida, the bottommost state of America, kind of. They come up with some interesting rules and interesting proposed legislation all the time. Currently, there is a bill before the state legislature that proposes a ban on dogs from hanging their heads out of car windows.
So this is more than just that, isn't it? It's all about kind of safely traveling with your pet. So this is a health and safety thing, and it just happens to include dogs hanging their heads out of windows.
That's the most newsworthy, but it's a whole litany of things that if this bill becomes a law in Florida, would make it illegal for dogs to do, and therefore the people who own the dogs to have their dogs engage in certain activities, such as
Such as being unharnessed in the car, not being in a crate, that kind of stuff. So the foundation behind this is kind of sound. It's about keeping dogs safe, which is a great thing, which I love. But also, we're getting into that dangerous territory of legislating everything and taking the joy out of life. And I think all of us who have seen a dog hanging its head out of a window um, knows what joy they get from it. And so we were talking, weren't we, about how there have been certain occasions where health and safety has snuck in on dog related things. And the one I always think about is every now and again a dog chasing a stick will get the stick in its mouth and it will pierce its tongue or hurt its inside of its mouth. And then there will be this crazy thing on social media where they'll say, don't throw a stick for a dog ever. Go out and get one of those rubber substitutes for a stick because your dog will be hurt. But
I wonder if there's any commercial interest in that.
probably. But it's sad, isn't it? Because lots of dogs love getting a stick. And the other classic one is I was having a conversation with somebody in a park about my dog who loves to run. And I said, oh, I'm concerned because I don't want her running too much. I'm worried that, when she's older, her joints might suffer as a result
Mhm.
of it. And this person said to me, oh, it's not the running you need to worry about. It's the sudden stopping when you throw them a ball. And so therefore what you should do is just never throw them a ball in the park. They were deadly serious.
Mhm.
And my dog is ball obsessed. And she clearly would much rather have a life full of balls and retrieving balls that's slightly shorter
Mhm.
than have a long life with no balls in it. I am talking about
There's a
rubber
bumper
balls.
sticker there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
long life with no balls. Back to newticles. But anyway, so what do you think about this? Because as I say, it's like it's health and safety. It's fundamentally it's good, but
It's well-intentioned, and I think what's interesting to me is, knowing a little bit about some of the s in my opinion,
Mhm.
silly stuff that comes out of Florida, that this is coming from Florida, which is kinda like, do whatever you want, but clearly not what you want when it relates to dogs. Now, there's a component of this proposed legislation that I'm all in favor with, which is establishing a registry of people who are convicted of animal abuse. And I
Oh,
think that's kind of
yeah.
good, but I think that, does letting your dog and getting a ticket and a fine and going for letting your dog stick its head out of a window,
Yeah.
is that worthy of animal abuse? No. Is letting a dog, there's all sorts of things that people want to legislate, uh, which is wrong. I think the United States is particular. I don't know if the UK is as gaga about this as the US, but
Not
uh,
really.
the Germans I know have often laughed at American laws
Mm.
that, basically in here in the United States, we have printed on coffee cups, caution, contents may be
Oh,
hot.
yeah. Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
Germans laugh at that, and then also they, like, knives may be sharp.
Yeah.
Caution, knives may be sharp. These are things that many people around the world think we're a little too careful about, and
Yeah, and this definitely falls into that category. And it's interesting because I looked online at weird laws relating to
yes,
dogs, and I thought
not
I
just
thought
Florida though.
I thought I might struggle with this. It turns out not. It turns
No.
out there's quite a lot of weird rules relating to dogs. So in Hartford, in Connecticut, it is illegal to educate your dog. So
Now,
I
I
don't
saw that. I do. Have we dug into this? The basis for this very important law in Hartford, Connecticut.
I guess they're just worried about dogs taking over the town if they have too much knowledge. But I
Uh,
mean, where is the line on education? Because training is a form of
I,
education.
we really need to. This feels
Yeah.
like something that we need to investigate. So there's some other things. In Alaska, it is illegal to tie a dog to the roof of your car, and animals must not enter beauty salons. So you cannot get your dog done up at a beauty salon in Alaska, nor can you put it on the roof of your car.
Can you not take it to the beauty salon if it's a poodle? Because you know,
Uh,
they have
Not
the
according
big
to our crack team of researchers, but I really like the idea that, I mean, maybe that makes sense, is that you shouldn't be able to strap your dog to the top of the
Why would you
car.
do that? Why would you do it?
It needs to be legislated because
How many times did it happen before someone said, "We need to put that into law. You must not put your dog on the roof of the car."
uh,
Now
yeah,
Sweden, obviously great Scandinavian country, and initially I read this rule and I thought that's just weird, and then I realized that maybe a bit of it's been lost in translation because essentially what they're doing is laying out the fundamentals of a certain level of care that a dog must receive in a doggy care daycare center, and then it makes a lot more sense. So any dog attending a daycare center in Sweden must be able to see out of a sunny window. And I
mm.
think what they're saying is like a light window, essentially, one that's letting in daylight. So it must be able to see out and see like proper daylight, not through a window at a brick wall, for instance.
My favorite one now is in your own country, in the United Kingdom. There is a law, Clara, that defies all the other laws that we've been talking about, I think, that it is illegal to let your pet mate with a pet from a royal household.
This also weirdly made me think of the royal sort of grandchildren as well, and how they they must have had to control who mated with the royal grandchildren. I've always thought that that would be very awkward if they sort
It
of
is
produced any
illegal.
offspring. Exactly.
Ah.
So generally, just don't let anyone in your household, whether it's canine or human, mate with the royal family without their consent.
A decree from the king. I'm presuming that one's probably hundreds of years. Probably older than the United States is.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, I would love to know if anyone listening to this has got any weird laws where they live, because I'm
In your local
sure,
jurisdiction, yeah.
yeah, or even down to cities have strange laws. Like, for instance, I know in Ottawa you can't have more than 3 dogs in a household. That's like a city bylaw, and I mean that's kind of sensible. But there are
Mhm,
little rules in little areas around the world, and I'd love
mhm.
to know them. So you can always, get in touch with us via dogpodcastnetwork.com or on social media. We would love to hear them.